Describe what happened at our youth camp with the prayer chair and what exactly happened.
The prayer chair was a thing we did at camp last year. Our youth pastor put a chair into the middle of the room, and he we each went up there one at a time and sat in this chair and told each other and just kind of poured out of our hearts what we needed prayer for and what our struggles were going on in life. Uh, you just sat up there and just like I said, used the power of prayer as a group.
How during this experience of the prayer chair, how did you see your teammates or other people revived or awakened spiritually?
There was a lot of all of those. There was a lot of reviving, and you saw people pour out of their hearts who they really were. They didn't worry about what others were thinking of them at the time. They were just you saw the real person. You didn't just see the outside of them and what they wanted others to see. You saw who they were deep down inside, and you you got to see people show their real faith that they have.
Looking back, at that specific time, watching people confess sin and share struggles, what effect did it have on you at that time?
At the time, I was going through a struggle that I was I was doing all the churchy things and going to church and going through the motions pretty much and going through the motions of church. And I was showing up on Sundays and Wednesdays, coming in every time the doors were open to come to church, but my heart wasn't right with God. I was putting up the face, but not being real within.
And so now looking back, how does that affect that past event? How does that affect you today, right now?
Today, since then I've been able to uh, become real with God in my heart. That helped me doing that. That helped me become real with God, and to this day, I've been able to study Scripture with a lot easier than it was before because I'm able to look at it and read it and know what is going on and that this is real, and instead of just reading it and just being another story that I'm reading. And now I'm able to be real with God and witness to others and kind of know what I'm talking about now.
All right, describe what happened at our youth camp in Florida with the prayer chair. What exactly was that and what happened?
Well, the prayer chair was a time where our whole youth group met together and we just shared our struggles with each other. Um, just you were real. You didn't really have to hide anything, and no one was really gonna judge you during it.
It's good. Um, Looking at, like there were adults there were students there, junior high and high school. Looking at them, how did you see people like become awakened or revived spiritually in that?
Well, I seen people being awakened because they actually got to see the real person who you actually were. So seemed like they felt like they could be themselves around you too, and they didn't have to hide anything no more.
And then looking at that, you watched that and then you sat down in the chair or you watching it from a distance. How did it affect you at that time?
Well, it made me glad to see other people that I knew that to open up and be themselves because you could tell when somebody's hiding something after you hide them, hang out with them a while, then you just get to know the real them.
And then now that it's past, like, but you look back and you remember and you visualize it in your head, like, how does it still affect you today?
Well, since the prayer chair, like I've been able to have better like friendships and relationships with people in our youth group, and that it's helped me understand and able to comprehend more of the Bible and other people. Like since then, like I have a better prayer life because I know that I used to hide from God, so now I could be myself around Him and with Him.
Describe the prayer chair experience at our youth camp last year. Like, what exactly was it and what happened?
We took a chair and we set it in the middle of the room, and everybody was just kind of spread out around it. And whoever wanted to sit in the middle sat in the middle, and they just kind of talked about, like, they confessed sins, they talked about like what they had trouble with, they did stuff like that.
Okay, so sitting back and watching your friends and people go and sit in the chair, how did you see those people who sat in the chair? How did they become revived or awakened spiritually?
I think that like once one person started it, that everyone, it's kind of like a chain reaction, and it just, they weren't scared to, they knew that someone else had just as many troubles as they did, and so they just kind of opened up, and they just.
And then how did that, like watching those things, or if you sat in the chair, just all those things, how did it affect you personally at that time?
Um, I didn't sit in the chair. I just kind of, I sat back and I watched, and I just was really moved by it because I've never really experienced something like that. That like, God just moved. Like I've never seen something that powerful.
And then now that it's gone, you look back or you're thinking about it or you play it back in your head. How does that still affect you today? Feel like,
It makes me feel better about myself
okay, how so?
because I'm not alone. Like I know that other people are going through the same things that I am. And so looking back, it's a lot easier to cope with things that I'm going through now, knowing that other people had gone through them also.
All right, at Florida, we went to youth camp at Florida, and we did this thing called the prayer chair. Like, what was the prayer chair? Like, what exactly happened?
Prayer chair, it was late at night, and we, got a chair, obviously, and put it in the center of a room, and we had, people got in it and confessed their sins and stuff, and just, like, showed how they were vulnerable and stuff, so.
So, looking back at it and watching your friends and your teammates and your youth group members sitting in the chair, how did you see those kids become spiritually revived or awakened?
Well, it destroyed a lot of barriers, and, like, a lot of walls came down, and it just, I don't think it would have gone the same way if we hadn't have done that, no matter what we did, because it just gave an opportunity for God to use that, and so.
And then sitting back and watching that, or even your turn in the chair, like how did it affect you at that moment at that time?
Well, it gave me an opportunity to come out of my comfort zone, and even like watching other people do it, it made me like really know them more on a personal level, like someone that I didn't know at the time, like that I just seen around school, and knowing how much they were struggling with something that I could be struggling with, and like a lot of them like confessed to not like having trouble believing and stuff, and that really helped me spiritually to know that other people struggled who I considered leaders. So.
And then looking back on it, like visualizing in your head or remembering, like how does it still affect you today, that experience?
It gives me courage to know that, everyone has struggles, and everyone can put up a front about it, but we still all go through the same things. No matter if you're the smart kid or if you're the popular kid who's good at sports, you still have trouble with God. So